obviously three pieces to it, or two other pieces, the snapper and the
Mm-hmm.
holder. So can you tell us the snappers? All right, so this is something that I had to learn a lot as a head coach, I guess, was, where the threads are supposed to be. How do you get the threads back to where the holder isn't having to spin the ball too much? Is there something that's being taught to the snappers so they know, with the velocity of their ball is pretty much going to hit the hands of the holder?
Yeah,
Where it's
it's going
almost
to
right.
be a little bit different for everybody. It depends on how the holder catches it. When we train our high school guys, we tell them, all right, we don't care what you got to do, take them to get a steak dinner, but bring your holder and your long snapper to one of our sessions, and they're going to work with me. You're going to work with our other coaches kicking. I'm going to work with the snappers and the holders. Then we're going to come together and do live snap and hold. So depending on the snapper, they could look at getting a 4.5 to 5.5 rotations on the ball, so on and so forth. We could break it down into the particulars, but the easiest way that we coach it for the high school group, because it's the hardest. In high school, you have guys off the edge that are just as fast as they are in college. I mean, you got guys that run, 4.5s or less in some areas. They're just as fast as college. So you've got to have a good operation time. We're shooting for 1.2 seconds or less from the time the ball moves to the time it's kicked. That's what we're shooting for.
At
Some
what
high
level?
schools,
At high
and
school?
that's
You going one,
and we're
two?
shoot. Well, our high school, we play in I'm gonna say it lightly. We play in the SEC of divisions in South Carolina, anyways. So we the two teams in our division last year played for state championship. So we play with some pretty good talent, or against some pretty good talent. So we don't have it. And plus, I'm there. Sean know what I'm talking about. You can't really not have a good special teams unit when you're supposed to be the special teams guru guy. So we shoot for collegiate level at River Bluff where I coach. But the easiest way to gauge that, George, I think is, we usually have the snapper take the ball and just shoot back about 5 snaps to the holder. And when the holder catches them, we just have him frame it. Don't take it down to the ground. Don't do anything with it. Just frame it and tell me where the laces are. If the laces are facing me like this, when I put it down, I'm trying to get this in the camera. When I put it down, I have to push the laces away from me and bring my hand back. So that takes a lot of time to push away and bring back. So I want the laces facing away from me as much as possible. So if the ball is rotating back to me this way and I'm getting laces 4 or 5 times out of 5 or 10, let's just say we're getting a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, I'm going to move back as a holder about a half a yard. I'm going to go to 7.5 yards and just let that ball rotate a little bit more. So now the laces are away from me. So when I pull it down, as I'm pulling my hand away to me, I can straighten the ball up and I'm done. So instead of trying to teach a kid how to spin it a little bit faster, we'll just play the percentages of, on average, being at 7.25, 7.75, even 8 yards. You see a lot of colleges go to 8 yards. Same in the NFL. A lot of times they're doing that. It's because of the generalized rotation from the snapper. So yeah, that snapper's got to be good. He's got to be perfect. The holder's got to have the best hands on the team. Because if you drop 1 or 2 passes in a game, it's not a big deal. You drop 1 hold for a game-winning kick, and you're gonna be finding an Uber back home to the school. So it is what it is. So you gotta perform. You got to trust as a kicker that the other 2 are going to do what they do. But that is the easiest way for us to coach it for those snappers. Not try to change the snapper, just try to change the distance, make it a little easier on the holder.
Makes sense. And Sean Riley, that's kind of rude of you to slam on my Cowboys like that and just go ahead and hit Tony Romo for. I don't know if I still don't know if it's his fault or not. They said the ball was greased or something. But anyway, I don't know. JT, I do want to say to Chemical Coyote, she asked a question about, a football question, non-kicking, and she was asking about, when you have a kid, what do you do to train them you trying the position you played or something else? To me, I would say you go with the position that they have interest in, and the body styles and body types are going to be different and all that. I didn't necessarily want JT to be a defensive back. Didn't really necessarily start out that way. He was a very good running back. It just he migrated that way with his teams to doing both and wide receiver and everything else. So I would say if you're going to help them and train them, see what their interests are, but be realistic about it too. If they're 6'6", 305 pounds, and they say they want to play running back, then you need to have a conversation with them about about that as well. So otherwise, let them play. What they want, and it'll all work out. That eventually a coach will tell them, son, we've had this on our teams. Every kid wants to play. Every kid want to play quarterback. Everybody want to play quarterback. Nah, man, you get over here and be one of these long snappers for us because we need some of those too, right? That Mr. Anthony is telling you about. Okay,
Right.
So are there any other points necessary that you think we need to hit with this kicking? Because I know this is so specialized, and people, when you guys are listening to this, we ain't even touching the surface about all the things they have to do. Right? What happens when it's college and the hash marks are really wide, and now you got to aim. I think my biggest, you kind of hit on it some, but what do the kickers have to see or do, Anthony? Because those guys coming off the edge, them dudes are fast, man. One little small little glitch. What are they? I mean, how do you keep them from not worrying about that flash or someone going to fall into their leg or something? You just tell them just to have this. Is it just that simple? You're just saying just take the easy stroke and not worry about it, or is there? How do you help these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as like we go back to that golf swing. Hitting it harder, moving faster, throwing your tempo and your rhythm off. Most kickers, I'll say this first. When you look at a good kicker, and a lot of people will laugh at those, and I'm talking about a really good kicker. Some of the guys in the NFL even, especially the guys in the NFL. When you look at a really good kicker, they are typically a really good general athlete. That doesn't mean they're a great quarterback or running back or whatever, but they're typically a better all-around athlete. They might play 2-3 sports. They might play baseball, soccer, basketball. Just that generic athleticism that some kids are born with and some are not. So when your better kickers have that, if they have that tempo and that rhythm, and you can just see it and it's smooth like your kicker, you can just see it. Like, you don't have to be, a guru. I don't have to be a quarterback guru to see a difference between a good quarterback and a bad quarterback. It's pretty simple. You can just see it sometimes. And it's the same with these guys. So if they try to get outside of what we call their frame and try to swing bigger and stronger and faster and speed up their tempo, and it throws everything out of rhythm. Well, what if the guy doesn't get there? The kick's still going to be terrible. So why hit it? If they block it, something else happened. In 1.2 seconds, either you didn't have a wing out there, something else happened. If they can get to it that quick, it could be the snap. You can't control the snap. You can't control the hold. You can only control you. So do what you do, and let it be what it is. I mean, it's either going to be great or it's not. You can't let all the other stuff get in your head. So you kick an extra point the same way you kick a 50-yard field goal. If you try to do it any different, probably not going to be real successful at kicking long field goals or field goals, period, especially in high pressure situations. So we do a lot of the mental game as well. We talk about a quarterback. Quarterback goes 80% in the game. He's had a decent game. A kicker goes 80% in the game and misses the game-winning field goal. He don't have a whole lot of good friends going into the bus ride home, like we've said. So I kind of try to push that narrative. Like, you don't have as many opportunities, man. Like, as a punter, same thing. You got to have the best hands on the team, because you drop a snap on a punt snap, everybody sees it. And it's, why do we even punt? That's what you're going to hear. All you do is kick in practice. That's what you're gonna get from the coaches. You only have one job. So we hear all of that stuff, and we know
Play,
that. I mean, it's
players
okay.
too. Players too.
Oh
So
yeah, for sure.
what happens? What do you guys do? And JT, I don't know. Maybe you know, or maybe you watched your kickers in your games. But what do you guys really do? I'm not saying during the game. I am saying during the game. But what are you doing? Are you guys watching the game most of the time? Or are you just sitting? Because a lot of times you guys aren't interacting with everybody else because we're getting in our little defensive huddles and our offensive huddles, and we're doing all this, and we see you guys
Mhm.
kicking in the net. But what what the hell are you doing for like 3 hours,
Well,
man?
I can tell you what
Yeah.
Jacob Carlson was doing for
Yeah.
during our games. He was always by a coach, but he was never by the coach that had their unit on the field. So like when the offense was by the field, Jacob Carlson was somewhere around me watching the
Defense.
game. Yeah, and he's just listening. He might make a comment or two, but he was kind of hanging out. But I'll give him his credit because he was one of the very few players that knew what was going on during the game
Football.
and like situationally aware at all times during the game. You know, how many points are we down? Are we going to go for two? If we're going to score here, is this a punting situation? Do I need to be going to the net? I'm about to be called out here. Like he knew all of the things. He was very in tune with big third down stops, all that kind of, which is more than I could say for a lot of the other
The
kids.
non-players. Yep.
I'll,
Okay.
I'll tell you, the high school we're at, we actually train our kids. I train them a lot like our NFL guys. So if we get the ball and it's minus territory, my snapper, if he's not on the field, he's a tight end. Now he will be on the field. He's playing offensive tackle, but the snapper would be warming up. My punter is going to be warming up in the net the entire time the offense has the ball. He'll have a backup kicker or someone else there. One of my JV guys that's not dressed out. If he has his back turned to us, kind of updating him on what the down and distance is. So they're just getting dry runs, kicking in the net, just staying loose. Now once we cross the 50, that punt turns into field goal. And if my holder is on the sideline, he would start holding. The kicker would then switch to extra point field goal, and he would just stay loose and hit a couple into the net every probably one a drive, something, or no, I'm sorry, one per play. So every time we're on the field, if it's a 9-play drive, he's going to hit 9 into the net. Whether that's between punt and field goal, that's what he's going to be doing. Now on defense, and he's usually watching the game, but he's out of the way. The biggest thing is for us to be out of the way of defensive coordinators. We definitely don't want to be creeping into the field and have the referee throw a flag on us for something stupid. We don't want to be known until it's time. We don't want to be seen until it's time. So we train our kids to do that at our school. A lot of places don't have that, and it is what it is. You got 11 players on defense, 11 players on offense. You got a coach for safeties, corners. School I'm at, we got 15 coaches for varsity football. I think that's quite a lot. We got
That's
two
nice.
running back
Yeah,
coaches.
be nice.
You got as many as Alabama, man. What's going on over
Yeah,
here?
I mean we've got two running backs coaches, 2 quarterbacks coaches, 2 offensive line coaches, tight ends
What?
coach.
2 quarterback coaches.
Yeah, well, one of them is also the coordinator for the offense, and the other one coordinates our B team players. So our sub JV team. But we got 15 coaches. Man, most people don't have that many coaches. You might have 7, 8, 9 if you're lucky. You're
Right.
definitely not going to have one guy dedicated to kickers, punters, and snappers. So it's understandable that you don't have that in a lot of places. We're blessed enough for me to be there with them, and my guys kind of understand the game. And when we're back there doing those drones, JT, that's a good thing that they have a script. One of them's got a script, and he knows this is the formation, this is the call, this is the hash the ball is going to be on, everything. So they're actually learning the play calls as they go. Not that that is helpful for a kicker, but it does keep them engaged with the team. A running back might come up. He might have come out after a play and gotten water, come back over and said, well, what's the call? Well, the kicker knows the call. You got the script with them. So, they learn the game. They stay engaged, and one kicker might spot the ball for an offensive formation period. So we're spotting the ball every 5 yards and moving it. And all we're doing is lining up in formations, trips left, bunch, right, we could be in dubs, whatever the case may be. And the defense is just lining up to it, and we're just moving the ball. We're doing something to stay engaged with them, whether it's practice or the game. We don't want to be, out to the sideline or another field just doing our own thing.